Watch the ride.
Hey everybody, hope you're all doing alright out there. So, if you've been keeping up my recent Motorcycle Maintenance 2024 series, you know the first half was working on my Suzuki DRZ400SM, which I've done. You can see all the episodes on YouTube right now. Good news with that, it passed its MOT, so all the work done in that was worthwhile and solved the problem, so good news there. Now it's time to move on to my other bike, and you might be like, ooh, what is it? Why is it covered in a sheet? Is this a new bike? No, I was spray painting yesterday and realised this would be way better for the thumbnail. Oh, what a piece of shit. Of course, this is my Yamaha XJ6 2010 Divvy. So, what needs to be done to this bike is quite simple really. It's replace the clutch plates, replace the oil filter and the air filter and the clutch cable. If you were watching in the end of the last series, sorry, too tall, 110 here still. In the end of the last series, I found a puncture in the rear tyre, and I said I won't ride on that. Gonna be honest, I did go to ride to the local shop, just a couple of miles, because the DR wasn't ready at that point, and I didn't want to take the CBR, and it was fine. It kept air for a couple of days. Well, anyway, point is, you know that emergency clutch cable that I put on this bike, the second one. If you don't know what I'm talking about, quick update. So, clutch cables, they sell emergency replacement kits. I put one in this bike to test it, see how long it lasted. It was about 150 miles, something like that. Then I came up with an idea to make one last a lot longer, and I think it lasted about 600 or 700 miles this time, so that definitely worked. However, on the one moment I went to leave the driveway to go to the local shop, it just went in my hand, and I was like, well, that's the bike telling you something, isn't it? So yeah, fair enough, bike. I don't have a clutch cable. But yes, those are the jobs we need to do. Quite simple list of things, really, and hopefully it shouldn't be too tricky. Now, obviously, if I'm going to be doing the clutch, I need clutch plates and things, and it's with thanks to Wemoto.com, of course, the legends that have supported me for years. I have friction plates, clutch plates, a new gasket for the casing, I have a new air filter, I have a new oil filter, and, clutch springs, and we have some oil. So, big thank you to Wemoto.com. It's a really nice setup I have with them. It's very simple. I ask them for some parts in exchange for just giving them a shout out on the videos, and they're cool with that. Basically, they are a website that sell parts for motorcycles, maintenance parts, oils, liquids. If you're going to maintain or fix a bike, they will have the part you need. Go and check them out, Wemoto.com. So I have all the parts to fix the bike, apart from the clutch cable. That's on order and it'll be arriving soon, but it's fine because I've got time to do what I need to do here. Today, I was going to take the fairings off and drain the oil out, and then I realised, well, to get the clutch case cover off, it looks like it will actually fit around the fairings, so I won't need to take it off. Oh yeah, by the way, look what I found. I forgot I'd left the print on them. If you know what these are, and I'm sure you do from my DRZ, I am planning to put these plastics back on the bike to go green laning. Now the question is, what should I do? Go in old school cow trim, or take that off and try and restore these a little bit. Though I don't really think there's much we can do that's going to be that great. It's just going to be sanding and then using a heat gun to try and make it shiny again, and then it can lead to cracking in the future. So, what do you think? I'm also waiting on torque specs for the clutch cover bolts and for the springs. We have found them. It's probably a reliable source, but I actually want to check from the horse's mouth, as it were, or actually it's Hazeman Motorcycles checking their records. Trying to find a service manual for this bike was tricky, and it might be because of the year I was looking for. One of my Discord members, Luke, has been an amazing help in actually finding one, but I just want confirmation that it's correct before I trust it. One rubbery belly pan. These are all rubbery. Does this deserve another spray paint? I've got some probably closer white than this is, because I got a pearlescent white before. And this is pearlescent, but this was different. You couldn't tell though, as soon as you got a bit of dirt on it, it's the bottom of the bike, you'd never notice that that was completely wrong. One of the things that's quite nice about the XJ6 is the oil drain plug is not on the underneath of the bike, it's on the side here. I've already undone the oil filler cap, so any oil that's in here can come flowing out, and there is going to be a lot of it. Because there's like 4 litres in this bike. Oh, you're tight. You're very tight. Come on. There we go. Ready, go. Okay, well, it's quite dark, but other than that. The oil filter is in here, and I've just realised it's not where I thought it was. For some reason I thought it was on the front of the engine. That's actually the CBR, Reno's bike, that I also work on. It's on the side here, and I don't actually have an oil filter tool. I normally borrow one. I'm not sticking a screwdriver through it, don't worry. It's a very bad thing to do, that. I've also just thought the bike's on a stand, so the front is up, so I need to bring it down. You're on that stand, by the way. See? Welcome to the floor. There we go, it's tilted forward now, so it'll drain all the oil out. I was about to undo these bolts, see if we can get this case past the crash bar, and then I noticed this one here. Notice that's not a straight line. Yeah, I'm going to have to take this plastic off to be able to get to those, which means I have to take this piece of plastic off, which means I have to take off this piece of plastic, and so on. To be fair to this bike, it's actually not that difficult to take the fairing off. None of it's particularly tricky. There's no like clips or anything that really break. It's all push pins and screws. It's just annoying because there's so many of them. So that takes that one off, press in there, and that one pops out. See, I've done that one before. Okay, the wonderful thing about editing is that you don't know about the half-an-hour jump there has just been, because my battery died and I need to go and get another one. And while I was upstairs, I thought, well, let's have a look to see if there's a 3D printable oil filter tool. And there is. And I'm thinking, well, I can order one from Amazon for 12 quid, and it'll arrive tomorrow afternoon, evening, or I can 3D print one in about 10 hours and have it ready tomorrow. And it'll be an interesting experiment, so I'm going to do that. I'm just waiting for some insulation for my bed and my 3D printer to come, which is handy because that'll be a long print. I don't normally do stuff that long. What am I forgetting here? I'm not. It is held on like that. Ta-da! If you are interested in seeing any other tools made out of 3D prints to see if they can survive, because the oil filter, tool, if it's not that tight, I think it would not be a problem. If it's really, really tight, I'm not sure. I'm going to print it to 100% infill. I'm going to do it out of PLA. It's as strong as I can make it. We'll see. But yeah, as I was saying, if you're interested in seeing some other tools printed and tested, suggest a tool, and I'll see. I also realised I was going to need to take these bits of fairing off anyway to lift the tank up to be able to get to the air box to get to the air filter. Great, so that's the fairing out of the way. As you see, it's not really that much to it, just a few bolts. Now it's time to try and undo these bolts, and this is a time that we pray. Dear motorcycling gods, do not forsake me with cheesy bolts and snapped things. I would just like to fix my clutch. Amen. And lo, if I didn't have to remove the crash cage, that would be grand, but it might be asking too much. Just stick with the first one, I'll be good. Here we go. Oh, good, good, good. That is very good. Now, these shouldn't actually have a very high torque, and it would appear that they... shush. We are not there yet. What? No. I have a feeling the crash cage is coming off anyway. However, if I can undo this one, and we can see. But I think to do that up with the torque wrench, I'm going to have to take this cage off anyway. As I do not know if these bolts are of different lengths, and it's very possible they are, one of the safest ways of making sure you don't make a mistake is deciding an order in which you're going to count them, and then getting a piece of card and put them in it. Now, the way I'm deciding which is the numbering is as I've drawn at the top here. There's a screw here and a screw here. The one to the right I'm calling number 1, so then it will be number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, 6, 7, do it clockwise, do it obvious ways. These are really, really tight, as in, like, they feel tight. They've also got thread, yeah, they've got red thread lock on them. Right, so number 1 goes in hole number 1. You see? You see? I've never replaced the clutch on this bike before. However, it's going to be no different really from any other bike that I have done. Yes, I've done a little bit of research to make sure I'm not missing any obvious things that are different in this bike, because you do have differences, but it's pretty much the same fare as anything. Take the cover off, take the springs out, replace your friction plates and steels if you need both, and put it back together. Obviously there's things you have to do, like soak your new clutch plates and all that stuff, and I will get to that in the video that I do that, which will be the next one, because this video will be just getting, I suspect, down to the point we can actually even do the work. I still have a feeling this crash cage is going to have to come off. Oh no, you're shaking around because you're attached to the thing I'm working on, I'm sorry. Same with a lot of the jobs that I've done videos on. This is one which is going to need to be done on a bike more than once in its lifetime, most likely. It will cost a fair amount if you go to a garage to have them do it, and it is something that you don't really need to be that skilled with the tools to do. Now admittedly, you don't want to get it wrong, and there is big risks with bolts and engine casings, and torque settings and confusions over things like that have bitten people who are new very often, and they are big expensive mistakes normally. So I can get people being a little bit scared of anything to do with the engine casings. But like, it's just a thing you have to just incrementally work up to. Start with the easy stuff. And also learn as much as you can, because when you learn a lot, like undoing screws, there's a lot of technique, a lot of ways and things to be aware of. Learning what can go wrong and how you remedy those problems is a good way of learning how to avoid them. It turns out Yamaha are absolute champs, they're all the exact same length. It's a good way of not allowing people to make mistakes. Now, it's good, it already sounds hollow. It will most likely be on pins, so that's why I'm just pulling and tapping with a rubber-ended screwdriver. You don't have to force it. If you force it, you're more likely to wedge it. I can get around everything. Yeah. If you don't drain the oil before you do this, there will be an oil explosion. So, there we go. Now, is this going to come off around the crash cage? Not in a million-billion years. Right, I'm just using a bolt to hold the clutch cover on. I've not done that up much, it's just holding it. Just so when I take everything off, nothing gets inside the engine. Actually, it's not really as bad as I thought. I thought it was both of these that had a plate through them. These are the engine mounts that hold the engine in, because this is the engine mount bolt. But as it turns out, it's only on one of them. So I can split it in the middle down there, I believe. And then I can undo that one and this side can come off. Now, immediately get this bolt back in. Just down to its shoulder. It doesn't have to be tight, because then the engine cannot move. It shouldn't be able to anyway, but it's just... There you go. I feel calmer. Okay, cool. Well, that wasn't too bad. Those back in there to hold the pinion peg on. I've just put bolt 10 and 5 back in to hold this in place, just to make sure the engine's completely closed up overnight, because I don't want condensation forming in there. Well, as closed up as it normally is, should we say. Because as I say, I've got to print off that tool and wait for some insulation to arrive, which will be arriving any minute now. So I need to take my 3D printer apart, stick that on it, put the printer back together, re-level it, print off that tool, and then tomorrow we can remove the oil filter, replace that with a new one, do the clutch, put the oil in, and that's a lot of the work really. And then putting the fairing back on. Oh, we also need to do the air filter. So maybe episode 2 will be oil and clutch. Episode 3 will be air filter and getting the fairings back on, and hopefully maybe the clutch cable will have arrived by then, and that can be it. It could be 3 episodes done, because then hopefully the nice weather will be here and I can go out and review some motorcycles. I can for sure. I've got them lining up. I just need the weather. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to hit the like button. I'd really appreciate it. Go and check out the other stuff that I've done. I've got full builds on my DRZ400SM. Honestly, if you want videos you can sit at night, hours and hours of quite relaxing stuff, I guess, because it's quite therapeutic, then watch that series. If you'd like to help support this build and this channel, then please consider supporting me through Patreon. There's also PayPal for one-off donations. There's merch, there's stickers, there's all sorts. Check out the description. I would really appreciate it. This is a very small channel which doesn't use the flashbang bullshit clickbait, you know, to really get people's attention. I've just said that on the one where I had it. The dust sheet was minimal clickbait. It was there for a reason. But yeah, I try and give good information. Unfortunately, that doesn't get you the numbers. So the people who do support me are very valuable. Till the next one. Bye-bye.